This is the BSA Gold Star, a bike that I've been desperate to get my hands on, and we've been trying for a long time, as with a lot of customers have, because they've not been in the dealerships either. But now they finally are, and thanks to Cooper Motorcycles, I've been able to test ride one. So here's my thoughts. Now, first off, doesn't this thing look incredible? This is the Highland Green, which is the cheapest, coming in at £6,500, and there's three other colourways which are £6,800 in the UK, and that is a really good price point. It puts it up against the Royal Enfield Interceptor, and I think it competes very, very nicely. So I'll go into some more details on how the bike feels. The engine on the Gold Star is very impressive. It's a 652cc single cylinder engine, and it sounds fantastic thanks to that exhaust, and that exhaust looks brilliant. I would want to take the baffers out and make it a little bit louder, but that's personal preference. It produces 45 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 55 Newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. And don't let the figures fool you, because this thing has got plenty of grunt, just as much as an Interceptor, if not, well, they're pretty comparable. The Interceptor's got slightly more power, but you don't notice that at all. I think it's got 2 more horsepower, so you're really not going to notice that. But this thing does go. If you want to open it up, it certainly does, and it's perfect for the country lanes. So in real life, in reality, you don't need any more power than that. This thing is spot on. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard everything there is to know about BSA's history, so I'm not going to go into that because I think every YouTuber has, so you probably already know it all. And I can't really compare this to the Interceptor too much because I haven't personally ridden the Interceptor. The old man did that review. So hopefully next year we might be able to do a head-to-head, which would be fantastic if we could manage to get both at the same time, which is probably very unlikely knowing how hard it is to get hold of bikes. But that would be the ideal. But from a young person's perspective, I am 20 years old. This bike can be ridden on your A2 licence, so when you're 19, if you do that licence, you can ride this bike. Now, I don't know about you, if anyone else is my age, I would much rather ride this than a pointy piece of plastic, which is absolutely hideous. This bike is a work of art. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, look at that front mudguard. That is beautiful. And this really does look very similar. It takes design cues from the original BSAs. The spoked wheels are absolutely stunning. The chrome on the petrol tank looks beautiful, although it could get scratched up in years to come, but who knows, owners will be able to tell on that. And this green colour is stunning. Really, really like the looks of this bike. It is a work of art. The Gold Star weighs 198 kilograms dry, or 213 wet with all your fuel and lubricants in the bike, and it does feel nice and light. It doesn't feel too heavy. It handles very nicely. You've got your sort of traditional forks on the front with this beautiful black cover over them, which looks fantastic. Not like a horrible gold anodized set of forks which you see on every bike these days. That is proper classic looking, stunning. no complaints there. So it soaks up the bumps pretty nicely, not finding it uncomfortable. The seat is perfectly comfortable enough if you're doing short rides around the countryside, to the pub and things like that. If you're going on a long journey, you might find yourself getting a sore bottom, and I'm sure you guys will know what BSA used to stand for. I don't need to say that one. You tell me in the comments what it used to stand for. I'll see if you know. But this bike is very comfortable. I've not had any issues there. It's got a single disc brake on the front and the rear, and that is made by Brembo. The stopping power is adequate for this kind of bike. It's nothing incredible, but you don't really need twin discs on a bike like this. It's not designed for, you know, wringing its neck out all the time. It's designed for enjoying the ride, enjoying the scenery, taking in the countryside, the smell of the country fresh air, or in here, the horse crap. But that's one of the things you will take in when you ride a BSA. Now, I was just riding the BSA and I've just come across this abandoned house. Let's see if I can get in. Anybody home? The fuel tank has a capacity of 12 litres, and BSA claims that the Gold Star will do 70.6 miles per gallon, which is absolutely brilliant. And as I keep banging on, if you want something that's cheap to run around on, get a motorbike, especially something like this or a slightly smaller capacity. The smaller you go, the more fuel economy you get, but that is very good fuel economy, and to get similar performance out of a car, your fuel economy will be probably like 25, 30 miles per gallon. And my Harley Davidson does about 40, and that's got a similar fuel tank size to this. So you'll be doing much less trips to the fuel station than you would on my motorbike, and you'll be taking more time in the countryside enjoying the ride. And that is what I would love to do all the time on this bike, and I'd like to get a hold of one for a longer period of time and really get used to it, and spend some quality time on this bike, because it's really impressed me. As soon as I got on top of this thing, I just had a smile on my face. I was grinning for miles riding this bike, and it's something I would put my own money on, and I don't say that about a lot of bikes. So this bike really has impressed me. The quality of parts on this bike is very good. It's on par with Royal Enfield, I would say. You've got the welding's very good. You've got beautiful styling, as you have with a Royal Enfield. This fuel cap, it's a lockable one, very nice, beautiful in chrome. The badge looks stunning, and that's a proper badge that's been put on there. The engine is absolutely stunning, and you've got this old BSA logo with the 3 rifles on it, because BSA used to be a firearms manufacturer, which some of you may know. My friend has been lecturing me about that, but it went in one ear and out the other. But yeah, I like that. It sort of gives you that little detail that that's what they used to do. The exhaust, what a work of art, absolutely stunning. And this rear mudguard, it looks very similar to the old BSAs, and you do have quite a bit of a gap between the tyre and the mudguard, which some people may not like. I actually think it looks very good, and it keeps that classic feel. So I haven't got a problem with that. Some of you may, but it's personal preference. You can take a pillion on this bike. You've got a flat bench seat, which is absolutely lovely. I hate stepped seats. So that's a beautiful seat, and you've got passenger foot pegs as standard. So once you've done your A2 licence or your A licence, you can take someone on the back, which is great. The mirrors are adequate on this bike. They look very nice, but I can only see about 60% of the road behind me. The instruments, dials, and whatever you want to call it, the RPM, the speedo, that looks stunning. Absolutely beautiful, proper analog dials. They start at about 2 o'clock and they go backwards that way, whereas normally you start at about 7 o'clock and go that way. It still goes clockwise, but it starts at a different location, and I really like that. It looks very nice. It's something that the old BSAs used to do, and it's something that Aston Martin does, so it's pure class, absolutely brilliant. So they are really stunning, some of the best dials I've seen on a motorbike. And then you've got this little digital display which is on the top of the headlamp, and that shows you when you're indicating, but it's nice and subtle and it's hidden away. The quality of these buttons on the handlebars, that's one of the sort of worst quality parts on this bike. Bit plasticky there, and the grips are sort of just, you know, nothing special, but you could change those. I don't know about changing that. But you've also got this little box with your USB and a USB-C port, which I like that it's on the handlebars. It would have been nicer to hide it away a bit, because it is just a box of plastic. But it's great to have it on the bars, because if you're using your phone like I do as a sat-nav, you need the USB port to be there so you can charge your phone while you use it, which is something that Triumph don't do. They put it under the seat, which really does my head in, because it might as well not have it, because the faff of taking the seat off just to charge your phone while you're riding and taking the seat back on again, and oh, what a palaver. You're not going to do that every day, realistically. So it's much better having it on the handlebars, but it would have been nice to have it a little bit hidden. Now, with the Gold Star being liquid cooled, you have got a radiator on the front there, which a lot of people don't like. They think it looks ugly. It doesn't really bother me too much. It is quite big and it does stick out, but unless you're, really drawing your eye to it, then you do notice it. But it's not the most ugly thing in the world. It's nice and blacked out, so it's hidden as best as it can be. So it doesn't bother me too much, but it's something. Now, after watching this, you've probably already seen our top 5 motorbikes of 2022, which was filmed a couple of weeks ago from me filming this. Now, if we'd have filmed that after I've ridden this, I would put this in the top 5. I would put this neck and neck, number 2, with the Royal Enfield Interceptor. It really has impressed me, and I do think it competes on par with the Royal Enfield. So definitely get down to your local dealer and give one a test ride. I'd like to say a big thank you to Jack from Cooper Motorcycles. They're based about 10 minutes away from Santa Pod Raceway, which is our only drag strip in the UK. So most of you probably know about that who live in England, and you Americans will be laughing at us because that's the only one we've got. But they primarily sell Royal Enfields. They've got a range of used second-hand bikes, and they're doing BSAs now as well. And Jack's been really friendly and helpful, so I'd recommend having a word with him if you're looking at buying one of these. So, in conclusion, would I buy this motorbike? Absolutely yes. And yes, I do think it competes with the Royal Enfield. So really the only comparable thing that you may be toing and froing with is the engine, because this is a single and the Interceptor is a twin. I do perhaps prefer the sound of the twin, but I do love the thump of this single cylinder. So it really is a personal preference thing. They're both good looking engines. So that's really all it comes down to for me, is the engine. Other than that, the styling and the quality and the way it rides is really, really good. So I can't complain about that. But if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more. And we'll hopefully do another video with this next year. And leave your comments down below if you've ridden one, what you thought of it, and whether you're going to go and buy one after watching this, because I know I might.